little 1022 style setup here. Have it paired with the Quark from Defense Safety Solutions. That is a 3D printed plastic 22 can, which sounds really good on this setup. And then to top it all off, we have the new GOYOJO GR225RF rangefinder built into this thermal, and the newest sauce from GOYOJO. So I'm sitting here at about 100 yards to the first two targets and about 140 to the back two. Got a couple of mags we're going to run through this thing and see how zero we are, and then kind of run through the color palettes, the rangefinder, all that good stuff. So starting off, go through the colors. There's that white hot, black hot. I like the black hot. I'm going to show you some zoom. Ooh. So the rangefinder says right here to that tree basically is 114, so I'm going to try to get the target. 114 is what it says. I think it's probably off about 10-15 yards. So I want to say from here to that first target it's about 85 from last class if I remember correctly. But here we go. You can see the little spark. So let's try to switch colors. See the spark in each color here. It's really hard to see that reticle. And then that same button that does the color palette change, if you hit it quickly, it's supposed to be the rangefinder in the top right corner.
Man. Over.
Nice.
Sweet.
All right. Let's go. Center. Okay. Oh, it's so low. Okay, so now you should be able to zero this off one shot. Now let's try right there. Same target. Just left. Saw that one. Dude, you could see the round going through here. I saw the 22 like traveling. That was pretty wild. Okay. Ooh, we're close. Ooh. Alright guys, so we're back from the range with the GOYOJO GRS225 with the built-in rangefinder. So now we're going to go a little bit over the scope itself, how it looks out the box, and what all it comes with. So this is definitely more of a scope versus the original GOYOJO that we played with several months back. So this one kind of reminds me of an oversized ACOG. This one is definitely more along the actual rifle scope line. Now, this scope style is a little lesser quality sensor or smaller quality sensor, however you want to say that, versus the GRL 335. So keep that in mind, but we definitely wanted to show off the differences between the two, not only in the physical form, but also in the specification form too. So we'll get back to this one here in a minute, but built-in rangefinder, guys, that's what this little box is here on the side. It came with a pair of scope rings, so that's nice, and it also has the little quick tighten and loosen there. So I like the way that that was easy to set up and get that on the gun pretty quickly. So the manipulations of this are pretty simple, guys. The bright yellow button is your power. You hold it on to power it on. Hold it down to power it off too. Menu button, this is also your digital zoom. This one goes all the way up to 8 times, and it does it in smaller increments than just one by at a time. So you've got a plethora of zoom options. I think it's probably upwards of 20 plus different zoom options on this thing if you take in consideration every half mark and all that. But blue button here, this is your picture. If you hit it once, that snaps a picture. If you hit it twice, it starts a video recording. It takes a second to pop up. You'll see it pop up in the left-hand side of the screen, and then it starts the ticker for the video itself. This is your color palettes. Hold that down, that'll switch the palettes out. If you do a quick tap, this is also the rangefinder button. So quick tap, you'll see a little green box pop up on the screen. And then I believe you just kind of hit it again to get it to rangefind itself. Now, something I have found out here is that these may be intended for golfing. So this is a golfing rangefinder, and that may explain why we were having some discrepancies in the yardage marks versus what we know that they should be. So for example, this thing was off about 3 to 5 yards up close within about 15 yards. And then going out to as far as 50 to 100, this thing would be off upwards to 15 to 20 yards. So stuff I know that I had just rangefind and confirmed with other rangefinders as well. So that's just something to keep in mind here, guys. This does have a little bit of a error as far as the rangefinder goes, at least on our end on this particular scope. You have a built-in 18650 battery, as well as a CR123 that is removable. Nice little front cover here. And inside the box, guys, it came with a battery charger for the CR123, a USB charger for your internal 18650 battery, and this also has a indicator here. It is red when it's charging, and I believe it turns off when it's done. I don't think it turns green or anything like that. So, but when we start talking about specs of this one, guys, they say it's going to be reading thermal signatures up to 1,300 meters. It has a 256 by 192 sensor with a frame rate of 50 hertz. This one in particular has the 25 millimeter objective. It starts off with a 3.5 times zoom, which makes sense because it's almost identical to the other thermal with a 4x zoom starting off. But on the scope itself, this one says 1. So like that was kind of confusing me. If that one was a 4x, but this one was a 1x, why did they look exactly the same at the same distance? So now that that is being spoken out loud, it kind of makes more sense. But you got a digital zoom of 1x8 or 1 times by 8 times, a display screen with a 14x40 by 1080 resolution. And they claim that this thing can run 7 to 9 hours with the internal battery, and I'm assuming the CR123 as well. It does have built-in picture-in-picture. This one does have built-in audio, which is awesome. And this one still has the one-shot zero and the thermal one-shot zero option, as well as shot-activated recording. So pretty awesome little unit here, guys. Now, when we compare it with the other one, you have a 256 by 192 sensor with a 50 hertz refresh rate here versus a 384 by 288 sensor with a 55 hertz refresh rate. This is also a 35 millimeter lens versus a 25 millimeter objective lens. This has a 1x4 digital zoom versus the 1x8. And this one starts at a 3.5 zoom versus the 4x zoom. But like I said, they look very, very similar to each other starting off. And then the display on the rangefinder one is 1440 by 1080, whereas the display on the more optic size one is the 1024 by 768. So you do have a little less quality HD screen in the better thermal versus the scope thermal. But other than that, the only really big benefits that the scope style GRS225RF has over the 335 GRL is this one records audio too. It also has the built-in battery with the removable rechargeable battery. This one only has the removable rechargeable battery. Lastly, the GRS225 does have a little bit easier of a navigation system with the mobile app. The original GOYOJO
it was kind of a pain in the butt. I've also been having some issues recording with the original GOYOJO, where this one, all the videos I've been able to get off this one no problem via the app. So that's worked out pretty dang cool. It was definitely something that I noticed as it being a lot better on this newer version here. But yeah, guys, that is it on the GOYOJO GRS225 with the rangefinder. What do you guys think? Have you guys tried any GOYOJO products? Do you plan on getting one in the future? Has this video convinced you to give them a try? We love hearing your guys' feedback and definitely want to hear what you guys think about it down in the comments. But we appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends, y'all. And be sure to check out GOYOJO online. Big shout out to them for sending this out for us to review. And be sure to go check out GunMade. But until then, we will see you in the next video.